That morning felt like any other ordinary day, too ordinary to suspect that my life was about to split into two irreparable halves. The sun slipped through my curtains in thin golden lines, brushing across the small room I shared with memories of my mother. Her photo still sat on my desk, slightly faded at the edges, but her smile remained unchanged, warm, gentle, and comforting in a way nothing else in the world ever was. I used to talk to her picture sometimes, especially on quiet mornings like this, when the world felt too calm to trust. I was making tea when my phone rang. Unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. Hello. The voice on the other end didn't sound like a scam or a sales call. It was serious, uncertain, almost shaken. Is this the son of Mr. Hassan? Yes, I replied slowly, tightening my grip on the phone. Who is this? A short pause followed. I could hear background noise, soft murmurs, footsteps, the faint echo of a large hall. This is the Citibank branch, the man said carefully. We need you to come immediately. My stomach tightened. Banks don't call people like this without reason. What happened? I asked, another pause, longer this time. Then came the sentence that didn't make sense at first. Your father is here with a woman who looks exactly like your mother. For a second, I didn't respond. My brain refused to process it. Exactly like my mother, I glanced instinctively at the photo on my desk. That same face, that same soft smile, my throat went dry. That's impossible, I said sharply. My mother passed away years ago. I understand. The voice replied, lowering slightly, as if afraid of being overheard. But sir, we are asking you to come as soon as possible. There is a situation involving identity verification and a locked account. The call ended before I could ask anything else. For a full minute, I just stood there, frozen with the phone still pressed against my ear. A strange pressure built in my chest, confusion mixed with fear and something deeper I couldn't name. My father had always been a difficult man, distant, controlled, a man who spoke more to silence than to people. After my mother's death, he became even colder, like something inside him had shut off permanently. But I never imagined him involved in something like this, and a woman who looked exactly like my mother. No, that wasn't possible. I grabbed my jacket with shaking hands. My mind kept replaying the sentence over and over, as if repetition could turn it into something normal. Your father is here with a woman identical to your mother on my way out. I paused in front of my mother's photo. For some reason, I felt like she was watching me, not smiling this time, just waiting. I'll find out what's going on, I whispered under my breath. But even as I said it, I had no idea that I was walking straight toward a truth that would destroy everything I believed about my family and about myself. The bank building looked colder than usual that day, as if even the walls knew something unnatural was happening inside. My steps echoed sharply on the marble floor as I entered. The receptionist looked up at me immediately, too quickly, too nervously, like she had been waiting for me. Sir, please go to the main hall, she said, avoiding eye contact. My heartbeat was already uneven, but the moment she said that, it dropped further. Main hall. I walked forward, each step heavier than the last. The sound of quiet conversations faded as I approached the glass doors. And then I saw them. Time didn't just slow, it collapsed. My father was sitting near the center table, perfectly composed, his face unreadable as always. But it wasn't him that froze my breath, it was the woman sitting beside him. She looked like my mother. Not similar, not close, exactly like her, same face, same eyes, same soft curve of the lips. Even the way she tilted her head slightly when she noticed me. My mother used to do that when she was unsure about something. My hands went cold instantly. No, I whispered without realizing. The woman stood up slowly, as if she already knew I would react this way. Is this him? She asked softly, her voice. It hit me harder than anything else. It was my mother's voice. Or something dangerously close to it. I took a step back, my chest tightened, my father didn't move. He didn't greet me, he didn't even look surprised. Instead, he calmly placed a folder on the table. You came fast, he said flatly, my eyes shot to him. What is this? Who is she? The woman looked at me with an expression that wasn't hostile, but wasn't familiar either. It was like she was observing me, studying me, learning me. Before my father could answer, a bank officer stepped forward, nervously. "Sir, there is a complication with identity verification regarding a sealed account. This woman claims legal access, but the documents are unusual." "Unusual," I repeated sharply. The officer hesitated. "They indicate a second identity file linked to your father." My mind refused to accept the words. "Second identity." I turned back to my father. "What are they talking about?" He finally looked at me, and in his eyes I saw something I had never seen before. Not anger, not guilt, but control, cold, deliberate control. "Sit down," he said quietly. I didn't. The woman suddenly placed a hand on the table, sliding a document toward me. "Your mother's name was used here," she said gently. My breath stopped. "No," I said immediately. "Don't say her name." She paused, then added softly, "I am not here to hurt you." That made everything worse, because if she wasn't here to hurt me, then what was she here for? The bank manager appeared from behind, holding a heavy metal box. "A locker box, sir," he said carefully. "This was requested to be opened only in the presence of immediate family." My father stood up slowly. For the first time, I noticed his hand shaking just slightly. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. He wasn't in control anymore. The box was placed on the table. The sound of the lock clicking echoed through the hall like a gunshot. And as it opened, my father whispered something under his breath that I wasn't supposed to hear, but I did. "You were never meant to see this." The moment the metal locker opened, the entire room felt like it lost its air. Everyone around the table went silent. Even the bank staff stopped moving, as if afraid that breathing too loudly would disturb whatever was about to be revealed. Inside the box were neatly arranged files, too neatly, like someone had prepared this moment for years. The bank manager pulled out the first folder with careful hands. "Identity records," he murmured. My father's jaw tightened. The woman beside him didn't move. She just watched me, calm, almost sorrowfully calm. I stepped closer despite myself. The first document had my father's name on it, but the second line made my eyes blur for a second. Another name, another identity, same photograph. Different signature style, different address history. My mind tried to reject it instantly. "This is fake," I said quickly. "This has to be fake." No one answered. The manager opened another file. This one contained bank transactions, large sums of money moved quietly over years. Hidden accounts, offshore transfers, sealed beneficiary records, and then I saw it, my mother's name. Not just written, used, attached to signatures I had never seen before. My chest tightened painfully. "No," I whispered again, but this time my voice wasn't strong enough to deny it. The woman beside my father spoke softly. "I didn't know you existed," she said. I turned sharply toward her. "What are you talking about?" She hesitated, then continued. "I was told I was part of a private identity arrangement. I was raised with another name, trained, prepared for situations like this." My skin went cold. "Prepared," I repeated. My father finally spoke, his voice low and sharp. "Stop talking." But she didn't stop. "They told me I was your mother's replacement in legal structure," she said quietly. The world tilted. Replacement. That word hit harder than anything else. My legs almost gave out, but I held the table. The bank officer quickly flipped another document open. "This file shows dual family declarations," he said nervously. "2 household records under one identity network." My head snapped toward my father. "2 families," I said, barely breathing. "Tell me this is some kind of mistake?" For the first time, his face cracked slightly, not guilt, not sadness. "Something worse, annoyance that the truth was exposed. You were never supposed to come here," he said quietly. That sentence shattered something inside me. "You built another life?" I asked, I stopped. My throat burned at the thought of my mother. The woman who looked like her shifted slightly. "I have memories I was given," she said softly. "A life I was told was mine, but seeing you, I don't think everything I was told is true." My father suddenly shut the file box. "Enough," he said firmly, but the damage was already done. The bank manager stepped back nervously. "Sir, these documents indicate fraud, identity duplication, and unauthorized inheritance structuring." The word inheritance made everything colder. I looked at my father again, and for the first time in my life, I saw him not as a parent, but as a stranger. "What did you do?" I whispered. Silence, no answer, only the ticking sound of the bank clock behind us. Then finally my father spoke in a voice so quiet it almost disappeared. "You were never meant to find out the truth about your mother, or the second one." My breath stopped completely. "Second one?" The woman beside him lowered her eyes, and in that moment I realized this wasn't just betrayal. It was a life built on something carefully hidden, waiting to collapse the moment I touched it. The silence after his words wasn't normal silence. It was the kind that presses on your chest until you forget how to breathe properly. "You were never meant to find out the truth about your mother or the second one." Those words kept echoing in my mind as I stood there, staring at the man I once called my father, but something inside me shifted in that moment. Not loudly, not dramatically, just permanently. Pain didn't disappear, it transformed. I slowly stepped back from the table, my eyes still locked on him. "So that's it," I said quietly. "Years of lies, and you expect me to just stand here and accept it?" He didn't respond. That silence told me everything he wouldn't say. The bank manager looked uneasy. "Sir, we need to secure these documents for legal processing." I raised my hand slightly. "No," I said. Everyone turned toward me. My voice wasn't loud, but it was steady. "I want copies of everything." My father's eyes narrowed. "Don't make this worse." That sentence almost made me laugh. Worse, what else was left to destroy? The woman beside him looked at me again, conflicted now, no longer calm. "I didn't choose this," she whispered. I believed her. That was the worst part, because even she was part of something bigger, something I hadn't even begun to understand. But I wasn't thinking emotionally anymore. Something colder had started forming inside me. Clarity. The bank manager nodded slowly. "We can provide certified copies for legal review." I turned toward him. "Good, start immediately." My father finally stood up. "You're making a mistake." For the first time, I looked at him without fear. "I already did," I said, and I walked out of the hall, not running, not breaking down, just walking. Because something inside me had stopped begging for answers and started building a plan. Days passed after that moment, but nothing in my life felt the same. I didn't sleep properly. I didn't speak much. I just studied every document I had collected. Hidden accounts, false identities, unauthorized signatures, years of financial manipulation buried under legal language. And slowly, a pattern appeared. He hadn't just hidden a second life. He had built it carefully, using my mother's identity as a shield. The more I understood, the colder I became. I contacted legal advisors quietly, bank compliance officers, people who didn't know my father personally but knew the law, and I waited, not for forgiveness, not for closure, but for timing. The final confrontation didn't happen at home. It happened where everything started. The bank. He was called back for verification review. He came confidently at first, but when he saw me sitting with the legal team, something in his expression changed. Not fear, realization. "You planned this," he said quietly. I looked at him calmly. "No," I replied. "You did?" The documents were laid out again, one by one. His second identity, the hidden accounts, the duplicated family records. Every secret he thought was buried, now sitting under bright white lights. The room felt smaller this time. He wasn't the one in control anymore, and the woman who once looked like my mother stood at a distance, watching everything fall apart silently. The bank official finally spoke. "Based on verified evidence, all unauthorized accounts are being frozen pending investigation." My father's face didn't break completely, but something inside him did. Not anger, not denial, just loss. And as he looked at me one last time, I finally understood something clearly. Revenge wasn't about destroying him. It was about revealing what he already built himself. I stood up slowly. "I didn't ruin your life," I said softly. A pause. "You did." And for the first time I walked away without carrying his shadow behind me.